And although you kind of know that this might happen, you don't really think about it very much.
When a long-forgotten jewelry box belonging to Princess Diana was recently unearthed, no one could have predicted the emotional storm it would unleash. But for Princess Anne, opening it was like stepping into a time capsule of memories, secrets, and unspoken bonds. Inside, among the glittering gems and royal heirlooms, lay something so deeply personal that it shattered her composure and brought tears to her eyes. But what could be so powerful, so unexpected, that it moved one of the toughest royals to tears? This is the story behind that poignant discovery, the forgotten box that awoke Diana's presence. What began as a simple, everyday task quickly turned into a moment frozen in time, one that would change how a part of royal history was seen forever. The day started like any other. A team of palace staff was assigned to clear out an old, unused room deep within the royal estate. The room had been left untouched for years, a quiet space filled with forgotten memories and dust-covered relics. Their job was straightforward: sort through the items, decide what to keep, what to store, and what to pass along. Nothing unusual, or so they thought. But then, tucked away in a shadowy corner behind a faded curtain, hidden beneath layers of thick dust and an old silk cloth that had yellowed with age, they found something unexpected: a small jewelry box. At first glance, the box appeared plain and unremarkable. The wood was worn smooth from time and handling, its edges softened by years of careful use. The velvet lining inside was faded, its softness dulled but still holding the faintest scent of lavender, a delicate fragrance that seemed to whisper stories from the past. Yet, even in its quiet simplicity, the box held an unmistakable air of importance. On its lid, nearly worn away by the years, was an engraving, subtle, almost hidden. It was a mark known only to a select few, those who had been closest to Princess Diana, the beloved people's princess. This tiny detail was enough to make everyone pause. This was no ordinary box. Whispers began to ripple among the staff. What secrets could this box hold? Was it just a collection of forgotten trinkets, or did it contain something more? A personal letter, a secret photograph, perhaps a message meant to be discovered only when the time was right. The excitement grew as everyone wondered who should be entrusted with opening such a delicate and meaningful treasure. After much debate, a decision was made that surprised many. Princess Anne was called upon to unlock the box's mysteries. This choice was unexpected to those who knew the royal family well. Princess Anne, known for her strong sense of duty and reserved nature, was not someone who sought the spotlight or public drama. Unlike other family members who were often in the media glare, Anne was seen as composed and practical, sometimes even distant. So why Anne? Some believed she was the best person to handle the box with the respect and seriousness it deserved. Others whispered that it was fate, that Anne had a unique connection to Diana, one shaped not by constant closeness, but by quiet understanding and shared loyalty to the family. Whatever the reason, the box was now in her hands, and the air seemed charged with anticipation. As Princess Anne entered the room, the weight of the moment hung heavy. She sat quietly by the window, the soft light casting gentle shadows across the table where the box rested. This forgotten box unlocked hidden truths and stirred deep emotions. Yet, within its delicate confines lay far more than mere jewels. But what secret legacy of compassion and quiet strength did Princess Anne uncover within Diana's hidden jewelry box? Let's find out. Behind the royal veil. Princess Anne has always been known for her calm demeanor and unwavering commitment to her duties. She's the kind of royal who rarely shows emotion or seeks the spotlight. While many saw her as serious and reserved, those who knew her understood her deep sense of responsibility and strength. Her relationship with Princess Diana was complicated, not warm or intimate, but marked by mutual respect and an understanding shaped more by royal expectations than personal closeness. They were not close sisters-in-law sharing secrets and laughter, but two women navigating the demanding and often cold world of royalty. Yet on this particular day, Anne found herself in a moment she never expected. She was standing in a quiet, forgotten room inside a royal estate, holding the lid of a small jewelry box that once belonged to Diana. As she gently opened it, it was as if a hidden chapter of Diana's life was being unveiled. A chapter filled with care, thoughtfulness, and a heart that many rarely saw. Inside that box were not just sparkling gems or showy accessories meant for grand events. There were delicate, carefully drawn sketches of jewelry designs, each one telling a story far beyond its glitter. These drawings revealed a side of Diana few ever got to witness, her quietly charitable spirit. She wasn't just a princess caught in the glare of public attention. She was a woman who dreamed of using her influence and the beauty of her jewelry to help others in need. The sketches showed plans for pieces that weren't meant to simply dazzle or impress, but to serve a greater purpose. Diana had envisioned jewelry that would raise funds for children's hospitals and support charitable causes close to her heart. Every design reflected a thoughtful intention, a desire to give back quietly and meaningfully. These were jewels that carried a message of kindness and hope, wrapped in elegance and grace. As Anne traced the lines of these sketches with her fingers, she felt a deep connection to Diana's hidden world. This was not the dazzling public figure who made headlines. This was a private Diana who cared deeply and planned carefully, even in small details. It was a reminder that behind the glamour and the headlines was a woman who wanted to make a real difference. For Anne, opening that box was more than a simple act of discovery. It was a moment that bridged the distance between them, revealing a secret bond formed not through closeness, but through shared duty and unspoken understanding. Through these sketches, Diana's spirit spoke to Anne, not as a distant relative, but as someone who understood the true meaning of compassion and legacy. Behind her composed exterior, Princess Anne uncovered Diana's hidden jewelry designs, which is a quiet symbols of love and generosity. But what truly shaped their relationship while Diana was alive? Now let's unravel the complex and often misunderstood bond between Anne and Diana. Royal worlds apart, Princess Anne and Princess Diana were two women from the same royal family, but they couldn't have been more different in personality and style. Anne was 11 years older than Diana and was known for her strong, practical nature. She loved the outdoors, was hardworking, and had little interest in showy or dramatic displays. For Anne, royal duty was serious business, quiet, steady, and focused on service rather than attention. On the other hand, Diana was young, lively, and full of warmth. She craved love and affection and was comfortable in the spotlight, often using the media to share her story and connect with people around the world. Their very different approaches to life and royalty created a natural tension between them, one that shaped their complicated relationship for years. Royal biographer Tina Seward tells a revealing story about a key moment early on. It was Ascot Week in June 1981, just a few weeks before Diana's wedding to Prince Charles. Diana, still Lady Diana Spencer at the time, was trying to find her place within the royal family. She decided to visit the nursery in the Queen's Tower, where Princess Anne was spending time with her two young children, Peter and Zara. Diana's hope was to reach out to break the ice and build a friendly connection with Anne. But the meeting didn't go as Diana wished. Anne, known for her straightforwardness and no-nonsense attitude, was cold and distant. She looked right through Diana, showing little interest in her effort to bond. Feeling rejected and hurt, Diana quickly withdrew. This moment was the beginning of a pattern, a difficult, often chilly relationship between the two women. Anne's dislike of what she saw as Diana's love of media attention and her emotional public approach to royal duties clashed with Anne's traditional disciplined view of monarchy. For Anne, being royal meant quietly working behind the scenes, not seeking the cameras or public praise. This perspective was also shared by royal reporter Richard Kay, who noted that Anne did not have time for Diana. He explained that Anne disapproved of how Diana used the media to promote herself. To Anne, Diana's methods seemed like a distraction from the real work of the royal family. These early clashes between them were not just personal, but reflected a bigger difference in how they viewed their roles in the monarchy. Despite this tension, something deeper was happening beneath the surface. While their public relationship was often distant or tense, Diana's last private messages to Anne revealed a more complex and meaningful connection. Beyond the misunderstandings and differences, there was an unspoken bond between the two women, one built on family, respect, and shared experience that only became clear long after both had stepped away from the public eye. In the end, Anne and Diana's story reminds us that relationships within the royal family are not always as simple as they seem. What might look like rivalry or coldness can hide layers of emotion, loyalty, and quiet understanding waiting to be discovered. Though they seemed worlds apart, Anne's stern reserve and Diana's tender longing wove a secret bond beneath the surface. But what drove Diana to seek the spotlight so often? What fueled her deep desire to connect with others? Now, let's uncover how Diana's modest jewels concealed a powerful mission of compassion and quiet transformation. Beyond the sparkle. The jewels inside the box were not flashy or extravagant, but each one carried a story far deeper than their sparkling surfaces. There were delicate tiaras, their edges softened and worn from years of gentle handling, as if they had been lovingly cradled rather than just displayed. The brooches, some slightly bent and showing tiny dents, told of frequent use, worn not for show but as silent companions during moments both public and private. The pearls, smooth and glowing with a soft sheen, held the quiet passage of time in their gentle curves. But these objects were more than beautiful adornments. Nestled between the velvet folds and hidden compartments, Princess Anne discovered small, handwritten notes in Diana's graceful handwriting. The notes were far from ordinary. They whispered stories of generosity and purpose. Diana wrote about her deep desire to help the sick, especially children in hospitals who needed comfort and hope. She shared plans for charities she supported and dreamed of projects to raise funds and bring smiles to those facing hardships. It became clear that these jewels were not just pieces of jewelry. They were symbols of something much bigger. They were tools, carefully chosen and intended to serve a purpose beyond the palace walls. Diana's vision was to use her fame and the glamour surrounding her to shine a light on causes close to her heart. Each piece was like a message in itself, a way to give back quietly and meaningfully. As Anne held these notes, she could almost hear Diana's voice through the pages, soft, caring, determined. The letters revealed a side of Diana few had seen, a woman who was not just a princess, but a deeply compassionate soul, planning in secret how to make a difference. The sparkle of the jewels was only part of the story. The true value lay in the kindness and hope they were meant to carry forward. Anne's heart stirred with a mixture of admiration and sadness. Here was a reminder that beneath the public image of a princess was a woman who wanted to touch lives quietly, away from the cameras and headlines. It was a beautiful plan, full of humility and grace, a plan that still carried power years later. In that quiet moment, surrounded by treasures both physical and emotional, Anne realized the true legacy Diana wanted to leave behind. It wasn't the glitz or glamour, but the gentle impact of kindness and love, passed on through simple acts that could change lives forever. These jewels were far more than mere ornaments. They were seeds of hope meant to last beyond the spotlight. But what deeper message lies hidden within this precious collection? And how will Princess Anne react when that truth unfolds? Let's delve into the details. The gift that shattered Anne's composure. At the very bottom of the jewelry box, nestled carefully beneath layers of soft protective cloth, lay a simple gold bracelet. It wasn't flashy or adorned with sparkling gems, but it held a weight far greater than its modest appearance suggested. Delicately engraved along the inside of the bracelet was a phrase, a secret message, known only to Diana and Princess Anne. This phrase wasn't meant for the public eye. It was a private bond, a whisper shared between two women who understood each other in ways few could. Next to this unassuming bracelet lay a photograph, faded slightly from the years, but no less powerful. The photo captured a rare and precious moment. Diana, Anne, and Queen Elizabeth caught in an unguarded instant of laughter. It was a scene far removed from the stiff formality of royal portraits, a glimpse of genuine warmth and connection between these three women. The kind of photo that told stories beyond words, revealing moments when titles and duties melted away, if only for a heartbeat. On the back of the photograph, in Diana's unmistakable handwriting, was a simple but deeply moving note. "We weren't close, but we were family. Please remember that." Those few words struck with the force of a tidal wave. For a woman like Princess Anne, known for her unwavering composure and stoic strength, this was no ordinary message. It was a call to acknowledge a complicated relationship that had never been easy, but was rooted in blood and shared history. The admission of distance, coupled with a plea for remembrance, shattered the walls Anne had built around her emotions for so long. As she read those words, something inside Anne broke free. The tears that had been held back through years of duty, silence, and resilience began to flow quietly. They were tears of loss, of understanding, and of a connection finally recognized. Here, in this small box, lay the proof that Diana had reached out in the only way she knew, through tokens of trust and messages left in private places, meant only for those she cared about deeply. This moment was more than just discovering a piece of jewelry or a forgotten photograph. It was an awakening for Anne, a sudden realization of the fragile but unbreakable ties that bound them. The bracelet and the photo were symbols of a relationship that, while never close in the usual sense, had a profound significance beneath the surface. It was a reminder that even in the world of royalty, where public appearances often mask true feelings, there are hidden stories of family, love, and longing waiting to be uncovered. This discovery goes beyond honoring Diana's legacy. It unveils private truths long hidden in the shadows. But is this truly the final chapter, or do more secrets still lie waiting to be uncovered? Now let's delve into the hidden royal secret buried in time. Unveiling the silent legacy. That delicate bracelet and the tender photograph were only the beginning, just the surface of a much deeper story. For many years, countless letters, small keepsakes, and private artifacts had quietly rested in forgotten corners, gathering dust far away from the curious eyes of the world. These items had been locked away, shielded from public view by the strict rules and unspoken codes of the royal household. In the palace, certain truths were carefully kept hidden, tucked away like fragile treasures meant for only a few to see. Yet this particular jewelry box was different. It hadn't simply been misplaced or lost in time by accident. No, someone had placed it deliberately, almost as if setting a secret message to be found at the right moment. This wasn't just a collection of pretty objects and old photographs. It was a carefully crafted trust, an intimate and powerful gesture from Diana herself to Princess Anne. It was a call, a silent plea for Anne to protect something far greater than jewels or memories. It was a request to understand the reality behind the headlines and gossip, the private truths, the untold stories, the emotions and intentions that never made it to the public eye. Diana had left behind more than just a legacy of charity and compassion. She had entrusted Anne with a responsibility few could comprehend, a role that demanded discretion, loyalty, and courage. As Anne held that box in her hands, the weight of this responsibility pressed down on her like never before. It was not simply the physical weight of gold and paper. It was the invisible burden of trust, history, and family. Anne realized that this moment was much bigger than a forgotten box or a sentimental keepsake. It was a turning point, a doorway into the hidden chambers of a life lived under relentless scrutiny, but also filled with quiet resilience and secret strength. She wondered, how many other secrets might still be buried in the shadows of the palace? How many stories had been carefully locked away to protect reputations, ease pain, or keep peace? Could there be other letters, other personal messages, waiting patiently for the right moment, the right person, to bring them into the light? The palace was a fortress of tradition, where appearances were carefully managed, and the past was often rewritten to suit the present. Yet within that fortress lay the real human stories, complex, sometimes painful, but always deeply important. Anne understood that her role was no longer just to perform royal duties or attend public ceremonies. She had become a guardian of those hidden truths, a custodian of a legacy that went far beyond crowns and titles. This was a sacred trust, given in confidence by Diana, whose voice still echoed quietly through the objects she left behind. And Anne knew in that moment that her actions going forward would shape not just how Diana was remembered, but how the royal family confronted its own history, one delicate secret at a time. Beneath the surface, letters and artifacts revealed a profound, hidden trust. But what was Diana's true purpose in safeguarding these secrets? Now, let's delve into the hidden letter, where her final trust and deepest mysteries await discovery. Princess Anne's unlikely journey into Diana's private world. Princess Anne sat alone in a quiet room, the soft rustle of paper breaking the stillness. Carefully, she unfolded a letter, its delicate paper yellowed with age but filled with words that carried a weight far heavier than time itself. The handwriting was unmistakably Diana's, elegant yet deeply personal, each curve of the letters telling a story beyond what was written. This was no ordinary note. It was a heartfelt confession, a rare glimpse into a world of feelings Diana had never dared to share publicly. In this letter, Diana admitted to breaking unspoken rules that bound the royal family tightly, demanding silence and restraint. But more than just admitting faults, Diana poured out a hope, a plea for understanding and forgiveness. She wasn't asking for sympathy or scandal. She was reaching out with the raw honesty of a mother concerned for the future of her children. Diana entrusted Anne with something that transcended royal protocol, the care and protection of her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. She asked Anne to be the keeper of truths she herself could never voice openly, truths that were too painful, too delicate, or simply too dangerous to share with the world. This was not a command, but a deeply personal request, a mother's final act of trust and love. For Anne, this letter changed everything. She had always been the dutiful princess, the steady figure behind the scenes, balancing loyalty to the crown with the demands of public life. But this moment transformed her role. She was no longer just a participant in royal ceremonies or a guardian of tradition. Instead, she became the custodian of a private legacy, carrying the responsibility of safeguarding secrets meant to protect the memory and future of a woman she had known only at a distance. Understanding the gravity of the letter, Anne chose to share it quietly with Prince William. She knew this was not something to be broadcast or exploited, but handled with care, respect, and discretion. Together, mother and son bore the burden of this hidden truth, joining in a silent pact to protect what Diana had left behind. The weight of that moment was profound. It was a shared responsibility that would influence not just family dynamics, but the way history would remember Diana's life and legacy. It was a bond forged in secrecy and solemnity, reminding Anne that some roles in life require strength far beyond public appearances. They demand courage, empathy, and above all, trust. In the quiet that followed, Anne felt the enormity of her new duty. The letter was more than just words on paper. It was a bridge between past pain and future hope, entrusted to her to guard with unwavering loyalty. From that day forward, she carried this secret not just as a royal, but as a protector of a mother's final wishes. Alone, Anne read Diana's heartfelt letter, a plea for forgiveness and protection, entrusting her with a private legacy shared only with William. How will Anne navigate this heavy responsibility? What silent strength will she summon to honor these secret bonds? Let's delve into a quiet symbol of enduring bonds and uncover the deep meaning behind this royal trust. The gift that broke the princess's composure. At a later public event, Princess Anne appeared wearing something that at first seemed simple, a modest sapphire pin. Yet this was no ordinary piece of jewelry. It once belonged to Princess Diana. There were no grand announcements, no official speeches explaining why Anne chose to wear it that day. Instead, the pin quietly spoke volumes on its own, carrying a powerful message that only those paying close attention could truly understand. The gesture was subtle but profound. Anne didn't seek the spotlight or public praise. She wore the pin as a private tribute, a way to honor Diana's memory without fanfare or spectacle. To some, This quiet nod was a touching act of respect, a heartfelt homage from one royal woman to another. It was a way of saying, "I remember you, I carry you with me," without uttering a single word. But the sapphire pin did more than just honor the past. It stirred whispers and speculation across palace corridors and among royal watchers. Some believed the gesture was simply a loving remembrance, while others suspected it carried a deeper meaning, tied to the complex and often delicate politics within the royal family. After all, the British monarchy has long been a world of unspoken rules, hidden messages, and subtle signals. And in that context, the pin became more than a piece of jewelry. It was a sign, a statement, a symbol of something quietly significant happening beneath the surface. For Princess Anne, however, the pin was never about politics or public image. It was intensely personal, a tangible connection to Diana, a symbol of memory, and above all, a form of protection. The pin reminded her of the bond they shared, however complicated or distant it might have seemed to the outside world. Wearing it was Anne's way of safeguarding Diana's legacy, holding on to something precious in a world filled with scrutiny, expectations, and tradition. The truth is, the jewelry box that once held this pin was never just about valuable gems or royal treasures. It was a voice from the past, a collection of memories, secrets, and heartfelt messages left behind by Diana herself. The box carried a plea to be remembered honestly, beyond the glare of media attention and royal duties. Anne's choice to wear the pin spoke directly to that plea. Without words or explanation, she showed reverence for Diana's life, her hidden kindness, and the courage she displayed behind closed doors. The pin became a symbol of loyalty, love, and remembrance, a quiet yet powerful reminder that Diana's story was more than headlines. It was about the person she truly was. In the end, this modest sapphire pin became a bridge, connecting the past to the present, revealing the emotional layers beneath royal protocol, and reminding us all that sometimes the most meaningful tributes are those spoken quietly, with heart and respect. So, what do you think about Princess Anne's discovery that left her in tears? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.